Hey guys, Zane from the Infinite Jukebox here with another quick album review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Arlo Parks record, My Soft Machine. Arlo Parks' 2021 album, Collapsed in Sunbeams, was undoubtedly a major highlight in music that year across all genres. That should go without saying if you were really into it in the same way that I was. And in turn, any sort of follow-up to that first full-length studio album from Parks was going to have a lot of impact to live up to. Not only was her debut great for a debut, but it was also absolutely amazing in general. From any artist a year old in the music industry or 50 years old in the music industry, it was a great release, no matter who made it. It was just a phenomenal album. So, another album that was going to come after that, it had a lot to live up to, and while My Soft Machine is not the best album in the world, and is certainly a slight downgrade in a variety of ways, it still manages to be a more than strong follow-up that is highly recommendable for people who greatly enjoyed Parks' debut. Parks' latest album sees her continue to expand upon her unique concept of what bedroom-based soul can sound like, and ultimately the unique usage of a variety of neo-soul and indie pop influences that are beautifully sprinkled together here will likely ultimately make for one of the more distinct and generally more consistently successful mainstream pop-based listening experiences of 2023. I won't be totally shocked if a lot of people at the end of the year list this at least as one of their favorite pop albums of the year. The versatility of My Soft Machine certainly helps it as well. I mean, sure, the record itself is still continuously rooted in a lot of indie/alternative pop influences, with some R&B influences mixed in there as well, but Parks manages to constantly reinvent those sounds to create new soundscapes from track to track, meaning that the album never really falls flat or feels monotonous when listening to it from front to back. Some cuts here, like Room, are more heavily influenced by a more groovy sound. They are easy to click with on a more instrumental level, but then you have other songs here like Purple Phase that are more heavily invested in the sentimental qualities that Parks is so easily able to inject in her own music, and the best part is that these different types of songs just beautifully work together in the context of the album. They make for a fluid listening experience, and they are equally great isolated from the record as a whole, which is something incredibly important to note as well, considering Collapsed in Sunbeams is an album that, although amazing, does have a couple of moments here or there that don't really work out as perfectly when listening to just a couple of cherry-picked songs from the record itself. And again, while I do think that this record is a slight downgrade from its predecessor, that My Soft Machine actually has some moments that feel a little bit more successful in some ways. It's also nice to see My Soft Machine continue to utilize that extremely personal yet still deeply poetic songwriting that Parks really has demonstrated on previous releases continued. She really is a fantastic lyricist, and I think it's a shame that that has largely gone unnoticed by a lot of the musical public. Now, admittedly, there are a couple of weaker tracks to be found throughout the track list here, and the most notable example of this is arguably the well-composed but relatively uninteresting Phoebe Bridgers collaboration Pegasus, a decent at best track that really doesn't add much to the entire album as a whole, and generally speaking, it's not something very much worth revisiting. It feels like a pretty standard fare track from both Parks and Bridgers. As a side note, I would also say I will pay Phoebe Bridgers money to stop collaborating with every single mildly indie artist, singer-songwriter type to exist ever on the entire planet. She will run out of people too soon, and then she'll eventually have to dig up the rotting corpse of Nick Drake to collaborate with him. I really just would like her to stop collaborating with people. I enjoy her solo music, I enjoy her work with Boy Genius, but man, her collaborations are just a big no for me 9 times out of 10, and that's just, once again, another example of that here. Look, My Soft Machine may not be the explosive slice of bedroom neo-soul that Collapsed in Sunbeams was, but nonetheless, this is a more than solid set of songs from Arlo Parks that continues to demonstrate how she manages to make albums just filled with great songs, bangers, as well as very emotive and genuine emotional tracks. A lot of the stuff here is admittedly a bit of a downgrade, but it's nonetheless an example of Arlo in all of her laid-back glory. I'm going to give this record 3.5 stars out of 5. And with that being said, that's the end of this quick album review. I've been Zane from the Infinite Jukebox. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.